evening, everyone. Next Monday, I won't be here in New York, so I'm already announcing, please do not come next Monday. I will update the schedule. Next Monday, there's no shiur, and we'll be back the following Monday. Sometimes I go out of town for a few days. There's nothing I can do. If I'm in town, sometimes I can move it maybe to a different date. Next Monday, no shiur. Please remember. And we made a Path to the Just series that we made it here in this shul. 21 lectures in English are already on a CD here. You can have it free of charge over there. And also we have in Hebrew 26 lectures. Mesilat Yesharim in Hebrew, 26 lectures on a CD. And also I made CD number 4 about a month ago. It's going very well, Baruch Hashem, with the 18 lectures on it. And we have number 1, 2, and 3, Pirkei Avot in English, Pirkei Avot in Hebrew. We have Torah and Science DVD in Hebrew, Torah and Science in English, the debate. We made the Hebrew subtitle to it. We're working on making a Russian subtitle to the Torah and Science in English. And I will be speaking in Russian, which means you see me, I don't know Russian, but it would look like I'm speaking in Russian, you know. So that's a little bit of the announcement. And yesterday was Tisha B'Av, and unfortunately, Baruch Dayan Haemet, one of the most righteous people in the world, passed away, of Moshe Malka, Zecher Tzadik Livracha. I didn't know what Emunah is, what faith is, until I met this rabbi. And I met him, I started to realize that it's possible to live according to the Gemara, to Chazal. Up to then, it looked like an illusion, you know, who can live this kind of life? When I met him, I saw what Emunah is in Hashem. He was zealous to Hashem, full of fire. He reached levels that if you don't see it, you don't believe that it exists in our generation. Everything against Hashem was making him go like a torch, like fire. He didn't enjoy this world. It was when he was younger, he was very close with the Baba Sali. He was one of the closest people to the Baba Sali. He had yeshiva in Bnei Brak, hundreds of students, between 5 to 700 talmidim, kids, yeshiva in Bnei Brak. He was raising millions of dollars. 7 months of the year, he was going from one country to another, raising money for these children to learn Torah. 7 months out of the year, his wife didn't see him. He was going from one place to another with strong emunah, was a person of musar, ethics, was learning, giving lecture. You feel like the place is going on fire. And, you know, the confidence that he had in Hashem was beyond words. Words cannot describe. Like, the way he was praying, the way he was crying while he was praying, every little prayer for him was 3 hours. What takes us 20 minutes was 2 or 3 hours by him. Many times he got locked into places because he was hiding in a corner and praying, and for hours, and nobody realized that he's there. They locked him all night. There are things with him that you don't really see in this world. Just to give you an idea, at one time he told me that he went to Mexico and he was looking for a place to stay for Shabbos. So they told him there's one Hasid. Hasid, he expected him to be Shomer Torah and Mitzvot. When he got to his home, he saw that the television is on, secular television, with kids in a house. They took the television and threw it out of the window, and he told him, tell me how much it cost, I'll pay you the bill. I cannot be here in a house when there's television here. I can't. If I love Hashem, I cannot let you destroy your soul in front of me and do nothing about it. Whatever the television cost, I'll pay. This is the kind of person he was. How many people would do such thing? No one. No one has the guts to do. Whatever it is, 1,000, 2,000, just tell me, I'll pay you. Just to show him how horrible it is for his soul and for his children. And not only that, every time he sat to eat, he didn't make zimun with less than 10 people. He was coming to someone and they sit both of them to eat breakfast. He wouldn't finish the meal until the owner of the house would somehow get 10 people that they say the name of Hashem. when they do Birkat Hamazon, when they bench, always Elokenu. One time I had the privilege of being invited. They told me Rav Malka is is talking in breakfast, 9 o'clock breakfast, 9:30 after the davening. So come join us for breakfast. So I joined them at 9:30 in the morning, and we were there until 8 o'clock at night. Once he was starting to talk, Divrei Torah, you couldn't stop him. It was like a spring, the waters are coming and coming and coming, and it's just not ending. This is the type of love that he had to the Torah and to Hashem. The amount of love was beyond words. I give you one example of a story that happened with him. I used to have a friend that lived here. Now he moved to Israel many years ago with his family. One time he was staying by him for Shabbat, and Motzei Shabbos, Saturday night, he had a flight going back to Israel. So the flight was a little bit after midnight, but there was summertime. So Shabbat was ending around 9 o'clock. And from Monsey to the airport with no traffic, if you drive very, very fast, it's at least an hour and 10 minutes. If you drive very fast and there's no traffic at all. So by the time Shabbat end, you basically had to be in the airport already. But he, first of all, until he finished to pray, and until he does Havdalah, it's almost an hour. And then the roads to the airport. So by the time my friend was telling him, Rabbi, we don't have a minute to waste. We're already an hour late. We need a miracle as it is. Why you have to do such a long Havdalah? So you should look at his face, how it was 100% real, true. No lies, no pretending, real 100%. Like, he doesn't understand what you want from me. What do you want from me? I'm the boss of the world. Right now I have a mitzvah to keep. I have to do Havdalah. The world doesn't exist beyond that. Right now I live the moment. The next 20 minutes I have to do Havdalah. I have a plane, I have to meeting. I don't care about anything. Right now I have an obligation to do Havdalah. That's all I see. Nothing else. The rest is not in my hand. Hashem runs the world. I have to get on a plane. I have to wait another day or 2 here. I wait. The world is not for me. The world is to follow the instruction of Hashem, and the rest is not in my hand. This is how we lived. So finally, when my friend is leaving, already when he left the house, he knew that he may get to the airport maybe few minutes, 5 minutes before the plane takes off. What about security? What about check-in? What about looking for the gate? There was no chance. So he told him, Rabbi, there's no point of leaving. Maybe we'll get you a flight tomorrow. He said, no, I have to do my obligation. If I get on a plane, I get on a plane. If I don't have to get on a plane, I'll come again tomorrow. So when they're driving, my friend was trying to drive fast. So he told me, why are you driving so wild? Drive normal. Drive like the law. How much you allowed here? 60? Don't drive more than that. So Rabbi, we're trying to get the plane for you. He said, no, it's not in our hand. Don't worry about it. So finally they got to the airport. So when 20 minutes after the takeoff time. Well, my friend is saying, what can I do? That's my fortune now. So he's afraid to get a ticket, so he double park in the airport. In those days, it wasn't bad like today, every minute they come. He had about 5-10 minutes. He leaves the car there. He comes inside to the El Al gate. It's empty. No tellers, nobody sits, no clerks, nothing. He comes around, like, hello, excuse me, you should see how he was standing with it. He always had a book. I never caught him without a book like this. Standing like this, doesn't pick up his head, maybe see not modest women, like this, in his own world. So this guy runs around, hey, excuse me, anyone here? So somebody came, can I help you? He said, yeah, I brought the rabbi to the flight. She said, what flight? Tonight's flight? It's already taking off now. The plane is already on a runaway, He said, I know, I'm very sorry, we're religious, we had to come from Monsey, it's very far. So she said, I don't know, what can I do? My friend told her, maybe try to see if there's any way to get him on a plane. So she calls another guy, they have this walkie-talkie, they check what's going on, the plane didn't take off yet. Say, does he have anything to check in? He say, whatever, So, okay, no problem. So they say, okay, we'll try to get the plane for you. Wait 1 minute. So they brought a private car. They drove him all the way there. Now, since he was so late, they gave his place to somebody in standby. So because of that, they put him in first class. They had an extra room. They see him standing like this. It's miracles of Hashem. I don't know what got to their head. They put him in a first class. If you see, when you are 100% with confidence in Hashem, you have nothing to worry about. One time he told us a story. All his story wasn't him telling about himself. It was always people telling about him. And when you ask him, he's forced to confirm, because we didn't leave him alone. We wanted to know if it's possible that something like this really happened. At one point, he had a debt to his yeshiva. He owed a lot of money. And with Israel, it's all revolving interest and this and penalties and the sharks, they're killing you over there. So it grew up to $4 million. And this is a person who doesn't speak one word in English. He has to come to America to raise so much money. So he came to the United States. Listen good to this story. I hope I remember all the details. The last I heard it was 3 years ago. So he comes to United States, and someone told me, let me take you to this Syrian Jew in Manhattan. He has a textile business, whatever. Maybe he can help you out. He can get you into the Syrian wealthy community. Maybe you can try to raise some money. But he doesn't speak a word in English. So he come with him. This is the guy is the interpreter. So he goes inside. He speaks to the Syrian guy. He say he's in a debt of $4 million. So the Syrian guy said, tell him that he better jump from my window. He's maybe on the 10th floor in Manhattan. He said, the window is open. If he wants, he can jump from the window. That's what I would do if I would be him. So, of course, the interpreter didn't have the nerve to translate to him. So he said to him, well, what is he saying? He say, well, he cannot help right now. Maybe we come in a few months, but right now there's nothing he can do. So he said to him, ask him if I can come in a few days again. So, the guy said, okay, he wants to come, he can come. But next time, the interpreter didn't want to waste his time. So he was making excuses. So he was in Manhattan. He came by himself. He walked in. He got in. The Syrian guy saw him, got upset. What am I going to do with him now? He doesn't speak a word in English. And what am I going to give him, $4 million? There's nothing I can do. Stand over there with his book like this. And the Syrian guy now is getting upset. All of a sudden he gets a phone call. This is how it was, exactly with no exaggeration. He gets a phone call. He picks up the phone. He was just informed that a huge deal that he was waiting for months to be closed, just closed. Big amount of money. The Syrians, they're well known as respecting the Chachamim. They give a lot of respect to rabbis that knows Torah. That's one of the secrets of their success. Right away, he ran to him to the lobby. Chacham means high scholar. You brought me mazal, you brought me good luck. Come inside. He doesn't speak one word in English, but he got the idea that he got a good phone call. So he comes inside. He gave him a piece of leather. He said, Shabbat. A few words he knew in Hebrew. He said, Shabbat, you come to the synagogue. I don't remember which synagogue. I think it was Sharet Zion, one of the big synagogues in Brooklyn. Shabbat, come on Shabbat morning to this place. I'll talk to everyone. We'll try to help you out. So he came on Shabbat. This guy kept his word. In the middle, while they're finishing the davening, he went to 10 wealthy people in a crowd. Each one committed to $100,000. So now he has $1 million. Then he had to go to Moshe Reichman from Toronto, was one of the biggest philanthropists in the Jewish world, to match. So he went to Moshe Reichman. He saw that he's struggling so much. Instead of matching, gave him $2 million. And then he came back here and got another $1 million matching. And he had about $200,000 left. It was $4.2 million. So he got $4 million in a matter of days. And then he told me, I was laughing. He said, and the $200,000 I'm already paying for more than 20 years. The $4 million he got in 3-4 days. It looks like an accident. The $200,000 is paying the loan for more than 20 years. Didn't finish yet. This is it. You come to his yeshiva, you come in, there's hundreds of kids standing online to kiss his hand. matter of confidence that he had in Hashem was beyond any understanding that we have. I remember another story with him. It's good. It's encouraging us. We have few more people like this left in the world. Everyone who's gone is a treasure who's gone. Is the biggest Kabbalist in the world is Rabbi Yaakov Hillel. He's teaching Kabbalah to big rabbis. Rabbi Yaakov Hillel. So Rabbi Yaakov Hillel, he used to have a yeshiva with 50 students. Now he had to go to a bigger yeshiva. His yeshiva was expanding. We're talking more than 30 years ago. His yeshiva was expanding. He needed a bigger place. Now he had two options. One place that is a little bit bigger, but within a year you're going to have to move again. And one place that is a lot bigger, like 10 times bigger. You don't need such big place. But it's much, much better deal. But you needed in those days, $50,000 30 years ago was like $500,000 today. So he was sitting, was in a car with Rabbi Yosef Borochov from Monsey. Bukharian rabbi Jew is teaching in our yeshiva until today for more than 20 years by now. Halacha every night to the Baalei Tshuva. He was sitting in a cab. Rav Yaakov Hillel, Rav Yosef Borochov, and Rav Moshe Malka. Rav Moshe Malka looked at Rav Yosef Borochov, which is a diamond dealer, write a check please for $50,000 and give it to Rabbi Yaakov Hillel. He doesn't ask him, you agree to help. Write and give him. Say, Rabbi, you're not talking 5 pennies here. It was like $500,000 today. Sitting accident, they all three of them in a cab, going taking a cab. He told him, I don't understand, your money is yours? Well, you have to do a favor? Write the check and give it to him. He gave him the check. Today he has 300 Talmidim, all the biggest Kabbalists, all in this yeshiva. Nahar Shalom is a very famous yeshiva. Rabbi Yaakov Hillel. The faith that he had is hard to believe. He didn't want to take electric from the electric company in Israel because they're not Shomer Shabbat. So he brought a generator. He puts a generator, and then Shabbat they use the generator. They don't want to take from the electric company. But the neighbors, there's neighbors that are not religious in the area. So they hear the noise of the generator, they don't like it. It also burns gas, so maybe smoke a little bit. So they constantly were telling on him, and the authorities, they give tickets, all kinds of things like this. So one time, they already took him to court, and there was big danger to the yeshiva. Everyone was nervous. You didn't see him moving an inch. Nothing bothered him. So don't worry. Nothing will happen to us. We learn Torah. We do what Hashem wants. Have nothing to worry about. And the day of the trial, of the thing, some miracle happened. The judge dismissed the case out of nowhere. Nobody understood how something like this happened. It's all thanks to his faith. And he wasn't so old. I believe it was in early 70s. He passed from the world. That's it. So slowly, as I told you, the people that we have a lot to learn from are gone from the world. And he was mainly, specialty was faith, which is the most important thing. Without faith, we are worthless. We can know a lot of Torah. If we worry about parnasah, about all kinds of things, all the time worry, what kind of a righteous person you can be if you worry? If you don't count on Hashem. The whole concept of the Torah is to train us to have emunah and faith. Since we are speaking about this, I decided today to speak about shidduchim. Now I know some of you are married already. You're thinking, what is it for me? Don't worry. We're not talking about how to find your soulmate only. We are talking now what's kosher, what we are allowed to say, what we're not allowed to say. Each one of us, in the past and in the future, are asked by people, what do you think about Mr. X for shidduch? What do you think about Mrs. Y? Is it a good shidduch? And sometimes you know things about these people that are not so great. Now you don't know, is it Lashon Hara? Am I allowed to say? I'm not allowed to say. You're afraid. Maybe I'm going to ruin his shidduch. and then it's going to be chas v'shalom on my own children, because Hashem always punish measure for measure. And on the other hand, if I don't say, maybe this Jew would destroy his life in his marriage, maybe then for that I'm going to pay. It's like a catch-22. Whatever you say, it's like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai say, if I say oily, if I don't say oily, one way or the other, I'm stuck here. So let's talk a little bit halachot, what's important. First of all, unfortunately, there are a lot of people today that have mental sicknesses. Mental sicknesses can be sometimes very major sickness, sometimes a minor sickness that you can live with. Some sicknesses can be treated with medication. Some sicknesses, the medication helps a little bit, but really there's no way. Some mental people are capable of getting married. Some people, it's going to be a disaster if they get married. It's a disaster for them also, not only for their wife or their children, for the entire family. So you may ask, so what are we going to do? This person would die single? The answer is yes. Yes. Life is not perfect. It's not according to your request. Many people want to be millionaires. They'll settle on $2,000 a month for the rest of their life, barely paying the bill. Some people want to be strong and they're weak. Some people want to be a genius and they hardly know 2 times 4 in math. Their brain doesn't work. Not everyone gets what he wants in life. We've been in it, we know. Some people will try to be successful in this and that. Some people want to be successful with their children, but every one of them turn to be an Esav. So it's not everything according to our wish. We can try as much as we can. The rest is not in our hand. So the idea is that the blood of one Jew is not more red than the other. That's the concept here. Trying to help one, spilling the blood of the other, that's against the law. Against the law. Many times you justify away by saving one, and on the other hand you bury the other. So that's not a mitzvah. Even today, when you have a person that is going to die in 1 hour, we just have Rabbi Eliashiv passed away about 10 days ago. He was the biggest posek in the world, the biggest authority in the Jewish world. And his opinion was very clear. If a Jew is going to die in 1 hour, and we know 100%, that's it, the doctor says he has about an hour to live. And now has an opportunity to take out an organ from his body and save the life of another Jew, or even 2 or 3 that are going to die tomorrow anyway. So now what's better, to lose all 3, or at least to save 2 out of the 3? Better to save 2 out of the 3. But the problem is that we are expediting the death of the first person by 1 hour. If we take this organ, he'll die in 5 minutes instead of another hour. So we take this organ and we implant it in the body of 2 others. We take a part from here and put it here, and a kidney and we put it there, or whatever the case is. And because of that, we rushed his death. It's a total murder, 100%. Because we are not God. We don't have permission to shorten the life of anyone with 1 minute. Even though technically, logically, the cause justify the way, right? But we don't have permission from God to shorten the life of a person for any reason in the world. We don't have. Not only that, if the Gentiles attack a Jewish town, like they used to be in the old days, very, very common, and they attack, and they say, give us a Jew, one to kill. We want to play with him, we want to hang him, we want to torture him, whatever the case is. We want to rape him, whatever the case is. Give us one, if now we kill all of you. How all of you? 10,000. Everyone would say, of course, give them one. Make a lottery. The name that comes out, give them. What's better, they'll kill 10,000? What's the law? No one gives him anyone. You're not allowed to push one Jew to go to him. You want to come and take yourself? Take yourself. It's not in our hand. We don't have the power to resist. But to choose one and give it to you, we have no permission. We cannot save one with the blood of the other. It's no permission. Unless, if they already come with the order that they want a specific Jew. They chose him. Then we didn't sacrifice him. They take him one way or the other. That's a different story. But if they come, give us one, if now we'll kill all of you, we don't have permission. 10,000 for one. No, sacrifice one. It's going to be a big mitzvah for him. It goes express to heaven. We are not God. It's much, much deeper than what I say. I don't have time in 1 hour to go into all the details. But it's very complicated. So anyway, that's why it's very common in shidduchim. Sometimes it's your own son. Some people say, well, it's my son, I have an obligation to marry him. If I'll tell the truth about him, no one will ever marry him. So since for anyone else, I wouldn't lie. But for my own son, I say, what, I want him in my house for the rest of my life? Who has permission that you kill another Jew for your own son? Here, I tell you a story that happened in the Holocaust. Used to be Rabbi Ashri from Lower East Side, passed away about 10 years ago. Very big tzaddik. I met him in person. Never picked up his face from the ground when he was walking in Manhattan. Never. Why? Manhattan is Sodom and Gomorrah. You not pick up your hand. It's a chance to pick up your head in Manhattan and not make a sin? What's the chance? You do it 1,000 times, you will always make a sin. There's no chance. He knows where he lives. He got the point. When he moved there, it wasn't like that. It was in the 1920s. It was very old. It should have been more than 100 years old today. When the Jews came from Europe, 1920, 1930, public school in America, include Manhattan, was separate boys and girls from 2 different streets. Entrance for boy from this street, entrance from the girl. From the girls who used to wear scared, they used to say prayers. Nonsense prayers, but at least they say prayers. They had some kind of dignity, right? You know, they had the 10 Commandments when you enter the school, some kind of religion. The teacher comes in, everyone rise, people used to dress all the same suits. School was a school. Not like today, look like a zoo. You need metal detector. You send your kid to a public school, you have to say Tehillim for 5 hours that he will come safe. Every day your son comes from public school, you have to make Birkat HaGomel. Every day. From public school, you know what's happening? There are kids who bullies the kids, you know. What do you have for lunch? Give it to me. They take knives. You don't give it to me, I'll chop you to pieces. You have money, and they're afraid to talk. You can send your son to school, you give him, I don't know, $20, $30 every day for years. He get robbed and he's afraid to say it. Right? There's a gang, they'll kill him. They're threatening him, he's afraid. Well, in those days, Manhattan wasn't like today, but now, later when he became like this, he wasn't picking up his head. So he asked, he was the rabbi in a ghetto. There's a very famous book in his names, the answers that he answered under the biggest pressure perhaps in history. Matters of life and death. If people were asking him if they're allowed to eat dead bodies to survive. Questions like these, very hard questions. How to make Hanukkah candles. If they had a potato, to make holes in it, use it like menorah, all kinds of things. I think, in my opinion, they have to teach this book in a school for the spoiled kids of us to show them how life was only 1 generation ago. Maybe they realize how good they have it and stop complaining. If they see what people had to go through only 1 generation ago. But anyway, so one person asked him this question. He said, the Nazis gave a list of X amount of people that has to go to die. And my son is in the list. But I have money that I hid in a bank account that I can give access to a Nazi guard, and in return he will get my son out of the list and save his life. The only problem is that I know they're going to have to send another Jew instead. Why? Because they have to send 100 people. And if I take my son out, they'll take another Jew in. Am I allowed to do it or not? Questions like this. What was the answer? He told him, please don't ask me this question. So the guy told him, Rabbi, I got the answer. And he let his son go to die. Why? Another Jew is less than my son? You understand what's going on here? This is it. So just that you think, oh, I want to help 1 Jew and then destroy the other, it's not so simple. You're not allowed. So let's give a few examples. Someone who knows about a guy that have an internal sickness, and he's dating a girl that she doesn't know about his sickness. Does he have to go and inform the girl about the sickness of the guy, or only if she asks him, or never? What do you think? Few possibilities here. One, it's not my business. Why should I ruin it for him? I wouldn't want someone to report on me. Why should I do it to him? That's one option. Second option, if she asks me, then I have an obligation to say the truth. And third option, whether she asks, doesn't ask, you have to do everything you go to locate the girl and warn her from the guy that he has this sickness. Which one of the three is correct? What do you think? צריך להודיע למשודכת על אותה מחלה. He has to go and inform the girl that the name of that sickness and tell her, go and check. Check if you want to be married to a person with this kind of sickness. It's your choice. Maybe she would say, okay, I'll take him anyway. Maybe not. And someone who doesn't tell it, עתיד ליתן על כך את הדין, will be judged for it. Why? Because listen good. This girl married him, and she will find out a month after the wedding that he has this treatment and all kinds of problems. Lack of performance. Who knows what's the chain reaction that it may lead to. And now her marriage is broken, and maybe they have a kid or two, and the kids are suffering, and she has to fight with him for money and all kinds of lashon hara and problems and depression. Everything is because of the person who was silent. He could have prevented this whole thing. People think, let them just get married. That's the most important thing. No. Being married in a wrong way or with misleading one each other, that's much worse than stay single. Even though it's very difficult to be single, but it's a million times better than to get married with the wrong information. Someone gives you a product A, and in the end you get product C. It's two different things. It's according to the Torah, you don't even need a get for it. It's called mekach ta'ut. They tell you this is what you get, and then in the end you find out that they misled you and they told you something wrong. You don't even need him to give her a get. She comes to the rabbi, she proves, listen, they told me about him this and this. Look what's the situation. And she can prove her case, that's it. Don't need him to give her a get. The marriage never took place in Shamayim. Mekach ta'ut, it get cancelled. Cases like this, unfortunately, a lot. Many of these cases could have been prevented if people would be more honest. The problem is that people could have prevented it, but they're not honest. Later, the rabbis have to deal with such a situation. They have to, it's a very, very hard decision. If to cancel the marriage, retroactive, or now to force him to give get and run after him and beg him and all the run around. Then, a man or woman that have a sickness that may cause interference with their marriage life after they get married, may cause problem in a routine everyday life. And the parents resist that the son or the daughter will tell their problem to their soulmate, which means we have Reuven, he is sick with something, and he wants to tell the girl that he's dating for a few times, I have this problem, but his parents warning him. Father says, listen, we disown you, we'll cut your credit card, you're not our son, you're crazy, you're not allowed to say, don't be tzaddik, it's happened all the time. Now he's thinking, I have an obligation to respect my parents. Kibud avaim, no? You gotta respect my parents, and then to say the truth. Which one is more critical now? Right? Not allowed to listen to his parents. And he must say the truth to the girl or to the guy, depend which one. Not allowed to listen to his parents. His parents threatening him, whatever. Nah, you have to. We take the responsibility. It's going to be our problem. We deal with the problem when it rises. You don't listen to them. Why? Hashem comes before the parents, and we spoke about it in different subjects in the past. Someone in a family of the boy or the girl that he is mentally ill, not the actual chatan or kala, relatives. Do we have to tell them, listen, his brother is mentally sick, his uncle is mentally, they have this problem in a family, his aunt is like this. Things like this. We have to go and report because there's always maybe a chance that it's in the family. So I'm talking mental sickness. There's no need to go and inform to the other side unless if they come and ask you clearly. Tell me, do you know anything about their family? Do they have any mental issues and things like that? If they ask you, you have to say yes, if you know. But if they don't ask you, since there's no guarantee, it's maybe 1 to 1,000 that there's going to be a problem, or 1 to 500. Since there's no guarantee, and they didn't ask you, then you don't have an obligation. You have an obligation only when the problem is clear and there's no way to avoid it. Then you have an obligation to go and say. But if since just because one of the brothers or something have mental sicknesses do not pass like physical sicknesses. So in that case, there's no obligation to do it. If the boy or the girl had in the past mental sicknesses that was treated, and Baruch Hashem now they cured. It was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Of course, the more time passed, the easier the situation is now. But even if it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, the question is what we have to do. If they continue to take medication, which means they have to take medication, otherwise the sickness may come back, so the doctors force them to take medication, you must inform the other side. The only reason I'm normal is because I'm taking medication. The only reason my son is normal because he takes medication. The only reason this boy is the shatchan, he wants his money. But he has to be honest. You say, oh, listen, I'm giving you guys a tzaddik, he learns. You say all the good about him, but I want you to know, 7 years ago he had mental breakdown. Since then he's good, Baruch Hashem, he's bright, he's sharp, he's everything fine with him, but it's because he's taking medication. He has to take medication. Even if the medication only come to prevent the sickness from returning, which means with or without it, you're normal. Even if you forgot to take it for a week, still normal. But it may return, it's still considered a cure. So you have to report it. You see, this is now we're going to answer a question that I've been asked probably hundreds of times already. Maybe people would listen to this lecture, they won't have to call again and again. What should I say? What should I say? Listen to it a few times and you know all the rules. Now, if the sickness is completely forgotten, I went years without medication and no problem, and a famous doctor, a specialist, confirmed that this person totally cured from the mental illness that he had a few years ago, and there's no influence whatsoever from that sickness, no influence, and the statistic shows that the chance that the sickness would come is 0, close to 0, there's never 0, but very low, then we don't have to report it. But if there is a chance of 5%, 10% that he may return, or there are cases that it returns after X amount of years or under certain situation, for instance, if you join the army, like in Israel, you go to the reserve, you're under pressure, maybe pressure will bring this sickness back. Or if you have a financial crisis, it may bring the mental illness back. So there are situations in life that can create the problem to return. Something like this must be reported. Must be reported. Now, I know what you think. People say, well, in that case, 50% of the people will never get married. Don't worry. בא העורב אצל הזרזיר. What does it mean? You have first class people, second class, third class, fourth class. Everyone find his own kind. It's not the end of the world. Doesn't have to be the Rav Ovadia to Mrs. The biggest Rebbitzin in the world. They are one league, and there's different leagues. That's the way the world is. You know, and for almost for every product there's a customer. Even you go to the auction, the car with frame damage. The people who buys it, why? It's half a price. They can't afford a brand new Lexus. They want to show off. So the guy said, listen, this car is 40,000, but you can get it for 20. Why? It has a little frame damage. Frame damage, no professional wants to touch. It's already shifted the whole car. It's vibrating, whatever. But he doesn't care how the car drives. They want to make him, you know, in the girls in his neighborhood. They don't know the car has frame damage. So even this as a customer, everyone has. A car without an engine has customers. Why? Maybe it's a mechanic he'll find in a junkyard and installed one. Or maybe he just want to put it in his driveway for show off. He buy it for $2,000. He puts it in the driveway. 20 years he shows off. You know, I know people has Mercedes. They can't afford the gas. I know people like this. I'm serious, 100%. They don't buy the car. If there's a wedding, they ask you, can you give us a ride? He's thinking about the $30 gas would cost him. But as long as he has a Mercedes, otherwise how can he join his family, you know, without it? It's the key to enter the society. What about a person who tried to commit suicide in the past and failed? One time when I was 21 and a half or 22, I came to an apartment of someone. I walked in, and the sister of this person was visiting the house. I didn't know. And I walked into the house, I heard someone is coughing from the shower. But bad coughs. Oh, like vomiting. I said, are you okay? Are you okay? Oh, okay, not okay. I see there's no answer. I open the door. I see she swallowed pills. And she was trying to commit suicide. The first time I was able to save life. Called 911, this, and her life got saved. Sometimes I wonder to myself now, more than 20 years later, what came out from this girl? Does she bless me for saving her life or curse me? I don't know. You never know. Anyway, most people who wanted to commit suicide and fail, they thank God later that they didn't succeed, because life turns around. Life is a wheel. Sometimes you're down, 5 years later you can be on top of the world. There are many people like this. So anyway, a girl was trying to commit suicide. Now she's going on dates, and you know about this case. It was 5 years ago, whatever. Do you have to report it or not? So, if you don't know for sure, just rumors that you heard, then you don't have an obligation. But if you know for sure, since there's a chance that a case like this can repeat again, because once a person shows that he's capable of doing it, there's always a reasonable chance that he may do it again. So you have to report it. Rav Elyashiv said, someone who's trying to commit suicide, it's in the indication that his character is very weak. And he has no faith, no emunah, and every time he runs across a crisis, instead of running to Hashem and cry to him, he tries to put an end to his life. That means something like this may happen again. Who's guaranteed that life will always be a picnic? What happened 2 years from now, he can't pay the mortgage, he's going to try to kill himself again. That's why you have to bring it up. A person that has migraines in his head, every once in a while he has migraines, he can't function, he has to lay down, or he has to take pills, but it's really not a sickness that ruins the life of his soulmate. If you told her or not, no, so she found out a year later that he has severe migraines every once in a while. Is it something that we have to report, like ulcer? Ulcer is another example. He can't drink orange juice, he can't have coffee, he cannot have spicy peppers. So, he has limitations, but this is something that's going to make her children sick? No. It's something to make her marriage bitter? Is making her suffer every minute of her life? No, big deal. So they can eat certain foods. She won't be able to cook everything she wants. So she won't make pasta with spaghetti sauce. So what's the end of the world? Is it something that we have to report or not? No. Only if we were asked. If they come and say, tell me about any problem you know. Minor, I don't care, headaches, this, fever, whatever. Then you have to say, but other than that, since it's not jeopardizing the marriage, there's no obligation to run and tell. Someone who smokes, or have glasses, but he's hiding this fact in his dating. You his roommate in yeshiva, he smokes. But now he goes on a date, he brushed his teeth 15 times. 3 days before the date, he didn't smoke. He's banging his head to the wall, because the girl won't take him. You smoke? Forget about it. Right? Or the other way around, the girl. So that he smokes. What is he thinking? I will hide the fact. Religious people, they don't kiss and, go too close to each other before the marriage. So you can hide it very easy. So after the marriage, he comes to her, hi Rachel. What can you do? I already put the ring. Maybe in a chatuna I already smoke. It's only tonight, Then it's too late. What can you do? Big deal. Why are you making big deal? Help me to quit. The question is, are you obligated to say it or no? Only if you are asked. Only if you are asked. Yeah, even though it can affect the marriage, but it's not enough reason to destroy the marriage. There's ways to treat it. I think that if a person knows that he's about to lose his soulmate, if he wants to quit smoking, he'll try a little harder to quit, I think. When people know there's a heavy price to pay, they're willing to give up their desire sometimes. Someone who making his bed, not 3 years old, it's 20 years old, and still have these problems. Believe it or not, it exists. It's something mental, obviously, because it's not supposed to. Usually it's not a physical problem, it's more of a mental problem. But, and there's all kinds of treatments to try to help it. Not always it works. Obviously 20 years it didn't help for this guy. So something like this. You have to report, you have to run and tell, or only if you ask, or never. What do you think?
Only if you ask.
What do you think?
Never.
Huh?
Never.
Is it something who ruins the marriage? Absolutely. A normal girl that she finds out after 2 days from the wedding that her husband has this problem and she can live with that like nothing happened, yeah, maybe Rachel Imenu, yes. In today's generation, even the Mercedes won't help. Even if he doubled the 4 carats to 8 carat, usually it will help only for a week. So you have to run and tell, because that's a very serious defect. It's a serious defect. Someone who has 1 kidney, one was removed, or he donated one. Does he have to report or not? No. The answer is, must tell her. Now he has a much bigger chance one day to default. If you have 2 kidneys, in the next 20 years, if you have a kidney problem, you have an extra one. You have only one, you donate to your brother or to your best friends, or you sold it. Like some people sell their kidney for money. They sell it for $10,000 and it's sold in New York for $150. You understand? He has to tell her, I have only 1 kidney. Why? I'm perfectly normal. Usually one ruins the shidduch. But if she finds out later, she may get very upset. How didn't you tell me such thing? So you have to tell. Then, someone that have epilepsy when he was a kid. In Hebrew it's called machalat hanefila. You faint, you fall. And the doctors still today, even though he's an adult already, he's in his 20s, he continued to take for years medication to prevent it from coming back. Do we have to run and inform the person that that's what he's about to marry? Only if we are asked, or never? What do you think? Must report. Must. What happened if the airplane landed in Romania and they don't have his medication now over there? You stuck there for a week or 2. What happened? All kinds of things. You landed in an island with Idi Amin and the monkeys. Now he doesn't have it. He's going to collapse every 2-3 days. He doesn't take the medication. There's always a chance that something like this. A person that his father is a goy, non-Jew, and his mother is Jewish. Even though according to the Torah is 100% Jewish, there's no half enough, like sometimes I hear, he's half Jew. There's no half Jew. You understand? You're either a diamond or you're glass. There's no half diamond, half glass. Get it? You're either a diamond or you're not. If you're a Jew, you're a son of God. If you're not a Jew, you can be a righteous person, you have rights, you have heaven, everything is fine. You're not in a nation that God said, this is my children. That's all, very simple. Whether you like it or not, very sorry, I didn't write the Torah. Complaints, go to the Western world, send God a letter or email, ask him why my mother is Christine and not Sarah. I always have complained why sometimes my father wasn't Sheldon Adelson. I had $40 billion, I can make a revolution in the world with this kind of money. Reach every Jew. Teach even the ones that their head is blocked, would somehow get the religion into their head. You have the money, you have the ability, you can do a lot of things. You don't have, you're limited. You have plans, it doesn't materialize. So, since he's a Jew 100%, and if the boy is righteous, he keeps all the laws, he behaves fine, everything is fine, you don't have an obligation to run and say his father is not Jewish. That's very interesting, because once something like this will be found, there will be a big embarrassment, right? We heard you married this guy. Did you know his last name used to be Christopherson, and he changed it to Shmulevich? What? What are you talking about? Now she comes and says, how come you didn't tell me such things? And why should I tell you? What? My soul is Jewish? I'm Jewish, finish. Well, no half. Then I don't have enough. So what do we see here? This is a very good red light for us. I always say, in this generation, everything sometimes is the opposite of what the Torah really says. For instance, no yeshiva in the world would accept Rabbi Akiva. Age 40, he doesn't know Aleph Bet, doesn't know how to hold a pen. Age 40. And all the little kids already know Mishnayot by heart. He comes to kindergarten. Hello, senor, que pasa? I'm sorry, I'm 40 years old. I have to write, to learn Aleph, Bet, Gimel. So he put him with a 3-1-A. You know, they put him a yarmulke, say Akiva on it. With tzitzit, he sits over there. He comes with his donkey. His future wife, she gave him a donkey with a plant. He walks in the market all week. You know the story, no? She told him, I want you to do me a favor. You love me? Yes. If I marry you, you're going to go to yeshiva? He said, yes. He wants to marry the princess, the daughter of Kalba Savua. Father is the richest guy in Israel. And is also a Talmid Chacham. So he said, okay, I'll marry you in one condition, you go to yeshiva. And yeshiva, it's not like today, the school bus come, you get on a bus, you go, air conditioned, beautiful lunch, pizza, hot dogs, different lifestyle. You go to yeshiva, you come when you go with the little kid, you come already with a beard. Last time your parents saw you were a little kid, Shmuli, now you came Shmuel with a beard. Who are you, sir? Can we help you? What do you mean? I'm your son. Well, he came back after 10 years, you know. Like Yosef. Yosef was sold to Egypt. And then later, when the brothers came, they didn't recognize him from his beard. Sometimes you have the 3 weeks, or the Omer and this, you meet people on the street, you don't recognize them. Hi, how are you? Who are you? You don't recognize them. All of a sudden has a fake beard, you don't recognize him. So, no yeshiva would accept Rabbi Akiva. If Rachav converted and left the prostitution, and she come to them and she say, Rabbi, can you help me find a shidduch? You know, I'm an ex-Goya, I used to have a prostitution home, but Baruch Hashem, I'm stuck with this, all day I read Tehillim. I want to marry Rav Ovadia Yosef. Get out of here, Chatzufa. No, okay, so I'll marry Rav Steinman. Get out of here, I don't want to see you. What are you, chutzpah? Who converted you? Who Rachav married? Yoshua ben Nun. What do you see? Convert is a convert. Baal Tshuva is something great. Not like today, it's all stigma, who you used to be, what you used to be. The world is not according to Hashem's wish, unfortunately. So, is either a Jew or not? Doesn't matter, the father. It's not a side here. So, in that case, but if somebody come and ask you, listen, tell me, I heard a rumor that the father of the boy is this and this. Is it true? And you know, then you have to say yes. You have to say yes. One time I had a guy came to my lecture. Baruch Hashem, he had a good soul. He was a hacker. You know hacker? But a genius one. He goes into the FBI computer, into the Pentagon, into the banks, does whatever he wants. Many years ago. Today there's many, but he was one of the first one. They couldn't resist him. You know, all the security system. He was 18 years old. Baruch Hashem became religious. So obviously once he became religious, he stopped with the nonsense. And then I invited him to me. He came to me for Shabbat, and he asked me if he can bring his family from California to New York. So he brought his family, and then in Pesach we found out that his father is an Italian goy or convert. Until today, I don't know 100% what he was. You know, it's hard. You don't want to ask too many questions to intimidate him. So one thing he taught me, this convert goy, whatever he was very good. You know, Italians, they have very good taste with food and cooking. And so he told me, you want wine? Now I was afraid. I said, if he's a convert, I can drink the wine. If he's a goy, it's a problem. Pesach, this, arba kos. So I said, no, I'm drinking water. I thought he's going to leave me away. I thought only the Bukharian, if you tell them I don't want alcohol, they don't leave you alone. But maybe the Italian, they respect. So he said, no, my friend, you have to drink wine. I said, no, I have water, I'm good with it. So he said to me, water is for women and for flowers. Real men don't drink water in a meal. That's why I can't forget him. I hope he's still alive. He was 70 then. We're talking 13, 14 years ago. Anyway, so But one thing about him, whether he was a convert or a Jew, for sure he was a beginner, because he didn't know that much. But he was very supportive of his son coming to yeshiva full time. Didn't care about college, none of these things. And when one day his son wanted to leave the yeshiva, he called me with tears. This Italian goy or convert, whatever he was, with tears, I'm begging you, if you love me, convince him not to leave the yeshiva, he said. I'll give him money, I give him everything he wants, just make sure he stay in the yeshiva. Okay, now, someone who knows that the guy is very sloppy, not clean, his clothes are not ironed, he wears one shoe brown, one shoe black, his shirt is always out, when he eats, his beard is full of breadcrumbs and olive oil all over, you know. He brushes his teeth once every 15 years. He knows about him, you know, he was in the same dorm with him, or whatever, or in the same neighborhood, or he sit next to him in yeshiva, and because of that he has to close his nose all day. Does he have to run and tell the girl that this is who she's offered? Or no? What do you think?
Yes.
She could see for
You
herself.
know, she'll see herself.
Believe me, when there is temptation before the marriage, the Satan makes sure to make the couple blind. That's why they need assistant. Why? I'll give you a proof. The highest divorce rate is couples who live together for many years in the same apartment. And when you see in the Rabbanut in Israel the report, the reason for the divorce, you will never believe. When you read it, you think, oh, they probably met each other an hour before the marriage. He stink. Where were you 7 years? He's stingy. 7 years you live with him. You don't know if he's generous or not. Why? Yeah, the Satan makes us blind because he is interested we live in a sin as much as possible. Like he makes peace and harmony. The Satan is the best in Shlom Bayit before the marriage. And the worst in Shlom Bayit after the marriage. He's only doing his job. So it says like this. So he knows someone is sloppy or not clean. Mutar lesaper al kach to the meshudechet. What does it mean mutar? Up to now he was chayav, has to, obligated. What does it mean mutar? Which means if they ask you, then you're allowed to say it. If they don't ask you, you don't have an obligation to run. Like you say, you hope that they'll see it without your help. A young guy that's starting to have white hair, gray hair. Because of that, he's only in his 20s, and he's thinking, wow, with my gray hair, I may look 10 years older. So he dyes his hair. He dyes his hair. He got permission. Usually, it's not allowed to dye the hair. Every act that is specialized for women only, it's against the Torah for a man to do it. But in some cases, since kvod hatzibur, sometimes the dignity of a person is also a very important thing in the Torah, and it makes the person depressed or really lower his chance to get married, especially when they get older. So I saw permission of big rabbis to some people, an exception to the rule, to dye their hair. Technically, the halacha is that it's not allowed, but I've seen an exception to the rule in my own eyes. I've seen. So the question is, now you know that your friend is doing it, he dyes his hair. Do you have to go and tell the girl?
No.
Or if she asks you, or never? The answer is you don't have to tell, even if she asks. How does it affect the marriage? First of all, there's a big argument among the women, what looks better, gray hair or black hair. I even heard that there are men who dye their hair white, some. Because it's more in style. You know, the world, we live in a world of a lie. All it needs that there's going to be one movie star that has gray hair and it's in style and he looks good. 5 million losers tomorrow come, hey, make me the hair like this guy. Oh, you're 20 years old. It's going to look ridiculous. I don't care. All of a sudden, from 20, he jumped to 40. Well, I saw somebody on the television. So what's nicer? It's an argument. And even if everyone agreed that black is nicer, right, let's say, once he died, obviously she couldn't tell, he'll diet for the rest of his life if it bothers her. Since it shouldn't create any problem. But you know these women, I don't want to marry you. Why? You lied to me. If we don't have trust, I don't want to. She lied 500 times already. The poor guy didn't tell her he had 5 gray hairs. No, cancel the shidduch. If we're already starting with lies, how our marriage going to look? Come down from the tree, do me a favor. Anyway, next thing. A girl that is single and made a big sin and became pregnant and had an abortion. That's a common problem, unfortunately. But now, she became fully religious. Chazra b'tshuva shlema. And they're offering her a guy, Ben Torah, from yeshiva, serious Torah learner. Does she have an obligation to tell him that she had an abortion in the past?
Yes.
She has an obligation or no?
Yes.
Now we are talking now that she doesn't have any permanent damage. Sometimes the abortion destroyed the womb. She won't be able to have kids anymore. Case like this, of course, if you go and you know you cannot have kids and you go and fool a guy, it's a big crime. But we're not talking a case like this. She was tested, she's fertilization, everything is fine. She got confirmed from a few doctors, she has no problem. Now, she has an obligation to report on her sins before she became a Ba'alat Tshuva or no? The answer is she doesn't have to tell. Not only that, believe it or not, I'm going to shock you now. When they have a baby, according to the Torah, it means redemption from the Kohen, Pidyon HaBen, because it's the first one who came out of the womb. But she knows she already had an abortion. She already gave birth once. So when the rabbi asking her, tell me, this is the first baby you had? Now, if she say no, her husband's going to find out she once had a kid. So first of all, he's going to come to her and say, well, you have a kid with another man? You've been married? Or you have a kid out of the marriage? It's going to create a serious problem. She's allowed to lie and say, yes, it's the first baby I had. And even if you know, if the rabbi asks you, you also have to lie for the sake of peace. To say yes. Now you may ask me, what do you mean? They're going to make brachot levatala now. They're going to mention the name of Hashem. When they do Pidyon HaBen, they do brachot, they do mention the name of Hashem. The whole ceremony is fake. You stand over there, you know, hey, this is her second baby. What are you redeeming him from the Kohen? This is just to show us how important is peace between a husband and wife. That HaKadosh Baruch Hu is willing to erase his name as long as the peace would stay in a house. And today we have stupid people who runs for every little thing to instigate. Oh, you have to divorce him. How can you live with a man like this? Everything right away, divorce. Hitting the button. Oh. Divorce, the altar in Shamayim, you have Bet HaMikdash. Here we lost Bet HaMikdash. Yesterday we cry, we hope to have Bet HaMikdash. I wonder sometimes to myself, how can we even ask for Bet HaMikdash? It's like the biggest hypocrisy. First of all, if we will be announced that Bet HaMikdash is about to be built next year, how many American Jews willing to sell all their assets and everything and move to Yerushalayim to build Bet HaMikdash? You know how many thousands of people build Bet HaMikdash in the old days? There are stones who are 30 ton. 1,000 workers who are carrying it. 1,000 workers carry 30-ton stones to bring it, to build the second temple. There's so much. There was so much to do. This banker with his bow tie and his cigar. Hey, Mr. Rosenberg, come please, help us to build Bet HaMikdash. Oh, it's too humid here. Wow, take off your jacket. No, come on. I mean, I'm a banker. I'm the judge in the court, in the Supreme Court. Come, help us, pick up. Come, bring the tractor. Who is interested to build Bet HaMikdash? The Yemenite who were only eating dough and bread in Yemen, they've never been rich in Yemen, when they were asked to come help to build Bet HaMikdash, they refused. In the time of Ezra and Nehemiah, the second temple, they said, no, we're good here. They didn't want to come. Today, when people are wealthy and have a great position, most of the people would want to stay in their place. Rabbi, can we send money instead? I have a Jose. is taking care of my house. I'll send him instead of me. I'll send him. I'll buy him a ticket. He will help you build Bet HaMikdash. So that's one thing. Second, okay, let's say everyone would agree to come build Bet HaMikdash. What's going to be in Bet HaMikdash? So now you come with your nice tie and your $50,000 watch and $5,000 shoes, and you come, you stand on live, you bring a goat. The Kohen from Shuk Machane Yehuda comes to you and say, Moshe, come, take the goat. The goat stink. You have to put him in your leg seats. Rabbi, do me a favor, Hashem, take Bet HaMikdash, save us. They start praying, Hashem, we're begging you. We had 2,000 years of peace. We didn't have Bet HaMikdash. Why do we have to bring goats now, cows, sukkot, come, do shish kebab on the mountains, flies? It's not for us. We got used to sit in LA by the pool, we have this. Now I have to go. How people would have Bet HaMikdash? The way we live today, 5 minutes, you don't have air condition, you faint. Now you have to stand in Yerushalayim, you made a scene, Korban Chatat, you stand for 10 hours there in the sun, Mr. Cohen. You ever saw the rich people going to the butcher shop? As soon as they come in, so can we order? It's going to come, Bet HaMikdash. Now if you Cohen, imagine you have $100 million and they say, sir, leave your businesses, please. You come, you are called on a shift. You have to be now in Bet HaMikdash. You have to slaughter the goats, this, that, clean, take off the skin, put the apron on. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I'm wondering to myself how the world would look if we have Bet HaMikdash. But then I go a little bit too far. I'm starting to get too confused. Then I come right down. I say, you know what, better not to go too deep. Drives me a little crazy. But this is just a little bit something to think about. Anyway, so a woman like this, she doesn't have to report. She doesn't have to say anything from her things, unless if it's affecting the marriage from now on. Why? אין מזכירים לבעל תשובה את מעשיו. Not allowed to say even to a בעל תשובה is your best friend. Hey, when you became a rabbi, you forgot we used to go to the club and do this and this and that. You're not allowed to mention it. Even if you mean well, like sometimes you want to tell your friends, me and him used to be best friends. We used to go here, we used to go there. Look what he became. What an important rabbi. Also not allowed. Because you mean well, but for him it's an embarrassment. And sometimes you have guests who comes to someone's house and they know it's their cousin or friend, and in front of his entire family begin to ask questions from 20 years ago. So how you became religious? How this? Now his little Hasidim kids, the hair shaved like this, all day like this in the Gemara, they think their father was born Moshe Rabbeinu. All of a sudden, thanks to this genius, they found out that his father used to be a hitman. What are you asking? You want to ask him over there outside when you go in a forest. But people don't use their head. Anyway, so it says like this. So this girl, if she want to get out of this question, she can say, well, I used to date people before I became religious, but since I became religious, I did not date any other man, and I start a whole brand new life. Amevin Yavin. You know what's Amevin Yavin? If he's clever, he'll get the point. Ba'alat Tshuva, a woman who became religious, that she used to have connection with the guy and made a sin with him. Now, she's not a brand new product anymore after she had a boyfriend. Now this person, he wants to know. So he sends a messenger to ask her if she has a record or not. As long as she wasn't asked, she doesn't have to voluntarily report. Once she asks, she must tell the truth. And even today, when they have surgeries to restore, she still must say the truth, because it's only restoring from the outside, but spiritually the damage is still done. Even though you should know that Tshuva covers everything. That's why Yoshua ben Nun agreed to marry Rachav. He knew that she wasn't a rabbit sent from Bnei Brak in her past. And he married her. And the Torah brings this story not to put him down, the opposite, to put him up, to show us the power of Baalei Tshuva. One time I had a Meshulach, used to come collect money for the poor people in Yerushalayim. And at that time he was 41 or 42, And I asked him, I don't understand. I walk with you 10 minutes in Yerushalayim. Every person who passed by was telling you, hi, how are you, how are you, how are you? You know thousands of people in a block alone. You couldn't find 20 years any shidduch. So he said to me, I have a problem. I cannot marry a woman that was with someone else. I have to get religious from birth. So I say to him, I don't understand. You were not born Moshe Rabbeinu. You also have a record. So what are you so picky? So he told me, you remind me of Rav Tzadka, Alav Shalom. Used to be a very big rabbi, Rosh Yeshivat Porat Yosef. So when I told him that, he right away took his hat off. He said, can you give me a bracha? He came to complain, that he helped him to find the shidduch. So he told him, so he said, no, I cannot because I have this request. So he took his hat, he said, give me bracha. I said, Rabbi, are you joking with me? He said, no, chas v'shalom, I really mean it. I didn't know that I'm meeting a person that is greater than Yoshua ben Nun. He said, you have higher request, Yoshua, you gotta be the holiest man in the world, give me bracha. He said, I know you're right and he's right, but I can't help it. And today he's in his 50s and he's not married. Sometimes we definitely ruin our own life with our own hands. This is what Shlomo HaMelech say, Ivelet Adam tesalef darko ve'al Hashem izaf libo. The stupidity of a person will get him off the track and he will be angry at Hashem, of course. Now you're never going to take responsibility. Someone who knows about a guy that is a despicable human being. Deceiving, liar, arrogant, angry, not, all kinds of cruel, whatever you want to call it. And this guy was offered to a girl who doesn't know about these problems with this guy. He must warn her and tell her all the truth without hiding any detail about this guy. And if he doesn't do it, he's like a murderer. You may say, what a bad guy. Why do you have to push his nose? Oh, what is it, your business? Why? The Torah says we are responsible to save one each other from falling into a hole and trap. You see someone is about to fall from the roof. He doesn't realize, he goes back. I heard a story this week. I don't know who told me the story, but a nice parable. That it says that someone was painting a picture, beautiful painting, draw. And then he wanted to see the painting, so you cannot see when you're too close to it. So you have to go back. So he goes back and back and back. There's 3 feet already is falling from the roof of the building. He didn't realize. So the problem is that he was deaf. Someone is screaming to him, be careful, you're about to fall. But he doesn't hear. Or either he's deaf or he's really into the picture so deep that he doesn't pay attention. So he's about to go, one more step is going. So the person took his knife, he came and cut his entire picture. Picasso, he just finished $104 million picture. This guy came, sliced it. So this guy, wow, what are you doing? He comes, he beat him up. He said, oh, Baruch Hashem, thank you, beat me up more, hit me more. So, what are you doing? He said, well, I just saved your life. This is what Hashem is doing to us. Sometimes. He said, be careful, you're about to fall. Be careful, be careful, be careful, be careful. Okay, you don't realize, you take away your car. Now you realize. Just before we finished. So you know this person is bad, you must inform the girl or the guy. Okay. Someone that has a yarmulke, tzitzit, goes to learn Torah every day, but has internet. He has connection to websites that are not kosher and has bad pictures and bad articles and bad films, etc. And you know that the girl is about to marry him. She thinks he's from yeshiva, this, black hat, everything looks very religious by him. But you know that he has internet. Do you have to run and tell her or no? That's the question. You don't have a proof that he's doing bad things in the internet. Just know he has free access to the internet. So is it guaranteed that he's making sins? No. Most likely yes. But no guarantee. Do you have to run and tell her only if she asks or never?
Only if she asks.
The answer is, listen good. you have to run and tell her, and you can even tell her that you know for sure that he sees bad stuff in the internet, even if you don't know, to make the sin bigger than what he is, for her to run away from him. That's how bad it is.
Internet?
Yes.
Everybody has it.
No, depends. The internet with filters or not. Didn't you hear about the 80,000 people who came a month ago? You already forgot? You have another chance Wednesday, Sium Hashas, 100,000 people in the stadium. Huh? Yeah, what's the name of that stadium? Meadowland? What's? MetLife? MetLife. Oh, now the stadium has a company's name, City Field, MetLife. Huh? We still don't have a stadium called Kiruv Organization, I guess. Soon. Ezrat Hashem. A guy, single guy, that they offer him a girl that is younger than him by few years. For instance, he's 30 and she's 22. And he thinks it's 8 years different, maybe her parents won't want me. Is he allowed to say he's 27? Let's say he looks 27. Is he allowed to say he's 27? And like this, the shidduch will go through, or no?
No.
People do it all the time on the internet.
No.
This is an argument among the rabbis, but if he does, he has who to count on. Very big names allow it. Among them, right, is Rosh Yeshiva of Lakewood, Rav Aaron Kotler. And I knew myself a big rabbi who passed away in the meantime, but when he was alive, someone asked him in front of me, and he told her aloud. But he said that before the marriage is finalized, you say the truth. After you go through the entire process, the parents, the Bukharian bought the whiskey and the flowers, and everyone hug and kiss, and they feel comfortable, say, I have a little thing to say. I'm not 28, I'm 88. You know, well, you already took my gold, my whiskey, and everything. In the end, you have to say the truth, but to ignite the relationship, you're allowed. Because sometimes it's really in the mind of the people. Because the guy is a little bit off. First of all, you should know that up to 10 years difference, there's nothing even to ask. You don't need to run to a rabbi to ask. Up to 10 years difference. More than 10 years, it doesn't say it's not allowed. You just need an advice to see you, to see him, to see if you're mature, is immature. You have to see. But up to 10 years, you have the blessing already. Opposite also is permitted, that the girl is older than the guy, but not by too many years. You don't want 40 to marry 25. But 3-4 years, okay. 3-4 years. Not only that, the rabbis came up with letters due to the horrible situation in the market of the shidduchim. We encourage people who are matchmaking to offer girls that are older than guys to begin with, without asking permission. 3-4 years, go ahead. You are blessed. It's no problem. Why are you making a big deal out of it? Sometimes it's much better than the girl is a little bit more mature than the guy. She put him in the right track. You know, so it's really no problem. The only problem is if she already get to the 40s, when it's already hard to give birth, especially if she was never married before and never had kids, then it's a problem to lie or to hide your age, because now it's already affecting the marriage and he has an obligation to have kids. But if you are 25 and you say 22, what is it going to change? Still have plenty of years. That's already a different story. And a boy that became religious and is in the age that he has to marry a woman, what's better for him? Right away to run and get married, or to take a time out from his life and to go to yeshiva full time to prepare his foundation as a Baal Tshuva, as a person who becoming religious, and as a future husband? The answer is, it's much better to take a total time out of 1 year from his everyday life, whether he's in school, whether he's in business, whether he's on the beach all day. Take a time out for 1 year enter a kosher yeshiva and learn from morning to night all the rules, all the halachot, Shabbat, brachot, modesty, nida, gezel, everything we need to know. Husband, raising children, believe me, you need it. You need it. You don't have it, you're going to pay a big price for it, for not having this knowledge. And also to improve his character, his personality, to learn ethic, musar, and obviously once you're in yeshiva, it changes you to become a much better person, whether you want it or not. Even if you didn't plan to become a better person, you came stingy, you live generous. The only problem is that when you leave the yeshiva, if you won't continue to learn, you go back to what you were, and sometimes even worse. That's the problem. It's like a person who came to the gym, and he became Arnold Schwarzenegger, you know? Like, he's a mountain already. And then he said, okay, now since I have my muscle, I can go like this on the beach, cut my t-shirt, like this. That's it, I don't have to worry anymore. I sweat 20 years in a gym. Wrong, my friend. 2-3 years you don't do it, you become a sack of water. Better off not to start. Once you're in it for life, my friend. I know a guy like this. I used to make fun at him. So a good friend of mine said, no, you finish your 5 hours gym. He said, no, come on, I became religious. I don't go anymore. I only go 1 hour, 1.5 hours, to maintain it. You know how sometimes when you want to get the truth from someone, you say, I heard he stole $1 million. Oh, God forbid, only 100,000. You only had to get the truth out. So it says like this. So if a person doesn't have foundation, the girl has to consider very carefully if she want to marry a guy like this, even though he's a Baal Tshuva, but he doesn't have in his record at least 1 year of full day learning. Very dangerous, very dangerous. But someone who was religious all his life, was learning in yeshiva 18 years, since he's a baby. Now he's 20 years old, 18 years into yeshiva, from one yeshiva to the other. And now he wants to get married, but now he's working already. So somebody like that, you can marry him. He has all the foundation. He has everything. Just make sure that he still learn every day. Okay, of course. Then someone who wants to delay the marriage because he wants to learn Torah. He get to 20 years old, his parents offering him shidduchim. He say to his rabbi, get my parents off my back, please. I want to learn another 4 or 5 years. I'll get married when I'm 25. I want to learn Torah. I don't want to right away now have this headache, changing diapers, this. Give me some break, I want to learn Torah. What's good or bad? What do you think? The answer is, we shouldn't assist him to postpone his wedding, because in a generation that we live in, it's pikuach nefesh. Every day you stay single with what's going on the street, just a matter of time until you do the biggest sin in the Torah and in the Kabbalah. Don't be an angel. You want to learn Torah? Yeah, you learn Torah, yes, and then you make other sins. On the other hand, al tiyeh tzadik harbe. Just get married, you have a wife, that's it. Now you can focus on the learning, even though you may learn less hours, but at least the learning will be pure, because you don't sit in yeshiva all day and think about girls on the street that you saw, because you have your own wife. Someone who used to be chiloni, secular, and full of sins, and now he became religious, can he hide the fact that he's Baal Tshuva from his soulmate, from his date? He looks 100% religious from birth. He looks. But he used to be, until 10 years ago, he was not religious. Now he comes and he wants to hide it from her.
No.
Is he allowed? The answer, no. He has to tell her, I'm a Baal Tshuva. But he doesn't have to reveal to her the sins he used to do. Even if she asks, tell me, you did this, you were with Goya, you stole, you robbed the bank, did you kill anyone? You don't have to go into detail. Baal Tshuva, it's like a new baby. Was born, you don't have a record if you did a real Tshuva. So all you have to do is tell her, listen, let's cut it short. I wasn't Eliyahu Navi until 7 years ago. That's it. That's what you have to say. I didn't live according to the Torah and the mitzvot. That's it. You want what I used to be or what you see now? So obviously, it obligates us to be very careful. If he doesn't have to say, which is directly misleading her, We, as a third party, don't have any obligation to say to her, oh, you know, he used to be a Chiloni, used to do this, used to be on the beach on Shabbat, we saw him this, he used to sell drugs. Whatever he used to do. However, if he used drugs, heavy drugs, then you have to say, because this problem usually rise again. In times of pressure, there's always this risk, it's like a sickness. Even though now he's out of it, here I just heard a story a few days ago, a woman was calling, all crying. She married someone, and he's back to drugs. So when they went to his rabbi, he's a Baal Tshuva. Why he didn't tell us? He said, I didn't have an obligation to tell you. Why? He was clean for 6 months. The rabbi was wrong. He murdered this girl. But the good news is that they don't have kids yet. So she can divorce him now, and the damage is not so big. What would happen if she had a kid or two? All her life she tied to this drug addict, suffer for the rest of their life because he knew the answer, he knew to warn for him, and he didn't. And he was first of all, maybe he was a student, maybe he was a supporter. Sometimes you don't have the guts to go against someone who helps you. You have to be very, very, very brave. And believe me, it's a very big test. I remember once I had a guy, he came to my shiur. It was many years ago. I believe none of you know him. He's not around here anymore. So he came to my shiur. First time in his life he came to shiur Torah. His eyes almost came out. It was 2 hours shiur Torah. He came with his friend. He came to me after the lecture. It was all inspired. I never heard such thing in my life. Right away I saw potential in him. Started to make him closer and closer. I started to inviting him for Shabbat and this. And then it turned that he was a very wealthy guy. Young and very wealthy. In many millions he had. So he was a very wealthy guy. Was spending money, burning money like crazy because he was making a lot of money. And after he started to become Shomer Shabbat, I got him tefillin, I got him tzitzit, I taught him all kinds of things. He was mamash Baal Tshuva now. So what happened is, when a person become Baal Tshuva in a short period of time, doesn't mean he became an angel. He still had all these girls and things and places that he used to be. In his phone used to have a lot of names. So one time he came to my attention that he's about to go and date a Goya. So right away I ran, I stopped him, I took his phone, I said, if you're brave now, let me smash the phone now. He said, well, all my telephone numbers in this. I said, that's the whole point. I want to help you out to fight against your sins. Let's go together to Austin Street. We were next to Austin Street. We'll buy a phone. You want? I'll pay for the phone. I said, well, you're insulting me. I care about the phone. But here's I said, don't worry. Here, let's smash the phone. We smashed the phone. He said, but I have a Goya. She has earrings that she left in my house. What am I going to do? I said, give me the telephone number and the earrings. I return it. So I drove. I don't want to tell you to give her the earring. Told her, I'm warning you. Stay away from these guys. Big problem with him. You don't know what happened. Okay. So with the Hamaka, she wanted to run away. Anyway, after all this, he moved out of New York. And one day I hear that he met another Goya. But now he's religious. So he decided to convert the Goya that he can marry her. But this kind of conversion is all baloney. If she would be a Mustafa, she would become Muslim. She doesn't care about the religion. Of course, she won't even keep mitzvot. So anyway, I tried to do everything I can, but now he was far away from me. It wasn't like face to face. It's very hard with remote control. So I couldn't help him. In the meantime, listen good. He already got so inspired that he heard that my yeshiva in Yerushalayim, I'm struggling a lot to pay the learners over there. He told me how much the yeshiva cost. I told him the amount. He pulled out his checkbook and paid the entire year in one check. The entire yeshiva in one check. And after that, he met this Goya. And now, I don't want to say names. He started to go to all these rabbis that he donate money to them. There's a very big test for them. They're going to tell him now, we cannot come to your wedding. So I told him, I'm very sorry, I cannot come to your wedding. He told me, what? You better than all the other rabbis? Everyone is coming. This one, that one. You are the only one who's not going to come. I did so much for you, for this, for the yeshiva. You're ungrateful. I say, I'm very sorry, Hashem comes before you. Believe me, if it was up to me, I would be the first one there from the morning. What can I do? You marry a Goya and you're fooling yourself and you want everyone to be fooled with this? And of course, I never heard from him ever again. That's a very hard test. Very hard test. It could be your brother. And we have cases like this. Every week I get questions like this. My brother married a Goya. My parents are forcing me to come, this, that, to sit on the side. What can I do? My parents, they support me, this, that. These problems rise all the time. So one thing you can learn from Rav Moshe Malka, I started with the eulogy for him a little bit today. He passed away yesterday, Rav Moshe Malka, tzaddik. So he was like this with the truth. You put $1 billion on the table. You tell him, lie for me here. Here is $1 billion. You will never have to worry about your yeshiva. It wouldn't tickle him. Nothing would make him move away from the truth. We are not even 1% from him. But at least we have who to look up to learn that we have people like this. That's the truth, I don't care. You pay the yeshiva, you don't pay the yeshiva, you put signs over me all over the street. We take the pain, what can we do? No one wants to be criticized, but the truth is the truth. And when a Jew marries a Goya, you cannot participate in this wedding. That's it, Hashem is crying, and I don't want to dance over there. Even if you pay me $1 billion in a minute to dance there. Or you come in front of Hashem, well, how you justify it? The next thing is going to tell you, okay, come eat pork with me, I'll give you $1 million for it. That's not, if you follow Hashem, you have to be strict with that. Anyway, so before we finish, we have another minute or two. A boy that met a girl and he likes her, but his parents are against them. They give all kinds of, she's not from our community, they're not rich enough, they're not from a good city. You know, we were back in that country, we were this and they were there, you're insulting us, look where they live. How do you want us to stand in the same chuppah with this kind of people? They're not educated, they have accent, you know, they're too short, they're too tall, they're too fat, they're too skinny, their nose is not straight, all kinds of nonsense you hear. But the boy saw the girl is righteous. She's righteous, modest, he likes her. Magia lecha mashu yoter tov. You deserve something better. He doesn't have to listen to his parents at all. Not the boy, not the girl. I know there are some rabbis who tell them you need the blessing of your mother. If you want work, you need the blessing of your father. It's total nonsense. Don't listen to them. They're wrong. Completely wrong. You have to listen to Hashem, not to your mother and not to your father. Every time your mother or father try to influence you to do something that even if it's indirectly against the Torah, not directly, indirectly, or even it's against the mitzvah de Rabbanan, you're not allowed to listen to them. Not you don't have to, you're not allowed to. If they tell you, just touch this muktzeh on Shabbat, and we'll give you $1 million, you learn Torah all year. Just move this muktzeh. It's only the Rabbanan. Why are you upsetting us so much? Why are you so fanatic? Come with us to this shul. So what if the mechitza is not 1.9 meter? So it's a little bit shorter, you know, things like this. You don't have to listen to them. And if they tell you the girl is not modest, you don't need them. Hashem say, stay away from her. The girl is a liar, you don't need them. The Torah say, midvar sheker tirchat. The girl is this, the girl is that. Everything that they say and it's matching what the Torah say, then of course you have to listen to them, because without them you have to do it. But if they tell you, we don't like her education, she only have a master degree. What's the first, the bachelor degree? Bachelor is the first, right? Drives me crazy, all these names. Bachelor is the first, right? Whatever, you got the point. She has the first degree, and now we wanted for you someone with a better degree. Their parents live in only 15,000 square feet house, and we live in 50,000 square feet. It cannot be, we're not in the same league. Or all kinds of things like this. Her father was in jail 10 years ago. Things like this. She's righteous, marry her. Go to the rabbi, tell them, Rabbi, maybe I don't see something. Help me, fine. But whatever they say, don't have to listen to. And many of the guys and girls in our community, everywhere I speak, suffering and probably will suffer for the rest of their life because they listen to their parents when it comes to shidduchim. So get it to your head once for all. Your parents do not know anything about shidduchim. In their old days, they used to take a little boy and a girl, nobody knew from their life. Yalla, mazal tov, they put some cakes, this, l'chaim, and people get married. Many of the mothers are miserable for the rest of their life, but there was a Muslim mentality. They grew up with this. Nobody can make a beep. This is United States. You live in Israel, in Europe. It's a different society. You cannot take the laws that was good for a Muslim country 30, 40 years ago and come to the grandchildren and apply it to them and make them miserable, and a month later the divorce will come. It's just not working. So they don't know. They mean well. All parents mean well. Nobody suspects them that they mean bad for their children. But they don't know. That's why I have to ask the rabbi. The rabbis will tell you. But also a rabbi that is not from 50 years ago. Someone who feels the street. He senses what's going on. He knows what these people have in their mind. He knows where they come from. He knows what Facebook is. He knows what internet is. He doesn't know all these things. He gives you an advice that was good for 30 years ago. It's not good for today. It's very difficult, very difficult. Some people got advice. When I heard the advice, I almost dropped dead. But the rabbis who gave them this advice is because they're so holy, they don't know about these things. They don't know. I remember one time I sent a girl that somebody was trying to make a sin with her. She was naive, so I sent her to the wife of Rav Chaim Kanievsky many years ago. I wanted her to testify to Rav Chaim Kanievsky about this crook. What does he do? But the rabbi, of course, won't speak to the girl. I know it's a procedure. She's going to have to talk to his wife, Alea Shalom. She passed away a few months ago. So the girl later told me, I was so embarrassed. Everything I told her, she didn't even know what it means. She didn't know. She's so holy. She never heard in her entire 8 years of life those terms of what people use every moment here. They're so holy, these people, that she said, I'm very sorry. I mean, I didn't understand a word of what you were saying. They didn't know. But today, if you're not connected to the corruption, to the garbage of what's going on out here, how are you going to give advice? If there's something new in medicine, you're the best doctor in the world, but up to 10 years you are practicing. Now they change the entire equipment, the dentistry, it's all robots, equipment, laser, all new. You could be the best mechanic in the world until 15 years ago. Now you come try to fix a car, there's nothing you can do. It's all computers, all chips, all sensors. 15 years ago, a car had a carburetor. If the carburetor is black, you call somebody, Ahmed, come. Take the pipe. Ahmed is sucking the rig, he opens the back. Give him $5, and that's it. The car is fixed. Today, it's all sensor, check engine, this. You don't know. Today, to be a mechanic is as difficult as to be a doctor. You know how much to know? How many systems? One time I went to my mechanic, he said, look how many CDs. Pie like this. CD for this car, all these things. So I said to myself, better to be a brain surgeon than a mechanic. So many things. If you say, what do you think I do? Every 6 months I go to a course. I learn new cars coming out. This one changed, that one changed, new system. There's a lot to learn. Same thing rabbis. Do you want to stick 40 years ago when the world was clean and nice and people used to meet 3 dates and everything is fine and mazal tov and divorce rate less than 1%? And you think that you live in an ideal world? No. You got to deal with the garbage that you deal with. If you don't know, I'm telling you, otherwise it's a big problem. There's a lot more to say. Maybe we'll continue. The interesting things I didn't get to, but I have another lecture now in Hebrew. So we'll continue Bezrat Hashem. But don't forget, next Monday I'm going to be away. So the next year will be in 2 weeks from now, Monday in 2 weeks. Thank you very much. Good night.